So why does it do that? Oh, I am live. Okay. Okay. Yes, a little bit more professionalism, which I'm missing out on at the moment. Oh, goodness. Yes, it's Ros Bounty, psychic medium here, but I'm just here as me. And I decided I'd come on live because what I've found was a book that I'd like to do, like a book review, but more with the aim of running through it as a review live stream. And what have I got happening there? Now I've got to go around like this. I'm still playing with buttons because I'm still trying to get used to what we have as the options in HAPS. I am on HAPS and it'd be wonderful to see you joining in. And now I've got to try and find where the heck is that button? Where is that? I'm wanting to find this one. I've got my book that I was looking at and thought, well, I'd actually do a bit of a review on it. I haven't read it. And I saw it in my bookshelf as I was walking past, and I have 2 copies. So what I really need to tell you is a bit of the story behind how come I've got some extra books in my bookshelf is because many years ago, and it was going back to 2005 and 6, that I actually had a mini store within a store that I was part of. It was sort of like a cooperative. And I had my book Nook bookstore in that. And this was part of it. There were certainly some of them that didn't go the distance with, I'm going to put this way, with how we, I'm allowed to change around things, aren't I? It's just that it's a bit easier to face this way whilst I'm doing this, and I'll change where the camera is. Yeah, that's a bit easier. Because this book is one that I happen to have, I had quite a few left over once the store was closed, finished, like my involvement in that cooperative finished. And part of what we've got here this morning, it's this afternoon, it's actually Saturday afternoon, the 24th of April here, and sunny South Australia. I'm actually at Port Elliot, so it's very nice and sunshiny outside. What I've got here is, no, that's not what I was going to show you. That's all right. I'll just leave it as this. So I was going to put up some inside photos and that, but I'm going to do that as a post on my website. So you'll see that my website is that one there. Hang on, I've got to point to it, don't I? Up there, therosbounty.com.au. I'll do a post after this that's got some of the cover. There's the front cover, as you can see. It's called The Book of Fortunes, and it's by Lilian Verner-Bonds. It's your guide to prediction and fortune telling. I just sort of was attracted to it at the time as I was choosing books. It was in the realms of the metaphysical and self-development things that I was choosing books for the book Nook. And I just sort of use intuition to pick which ones they were that I'd needed to put into. I was just glancing over there to see that I've got it centered. So it was more for to match with some workshops. There was a lot of books that I used in workshops, and then there was extras. This is one of those extras. So I haven't actually read it myself, but it takes your destiny in your hands and learn the ancient art of divination from an expert, which is what Lilian Verner-Bonds is part of her label, I suppose. She would be an expert in doing the authorship of this book. Now, as we go into it, I did want to make sure that you sort of knew this was actually produced in, and this is one of the pictures that I'm going to put as the post, but you can tell there that the actual, I've got to get my pointer, the actual publication and the copyright's from 2001. So it's not a young book, but it's not overly old either, because the information in any of these types of books doesn't really age, because what happens with using the cards, the dice, the tools, the pendulum and everything else is that it doesn't age. And so what I thought I'd like to do, and I need to be holding it properly, don't I? Like that. And I didn't change around my camera yet either. Just going to go that way a bit more so that it's a bit closer to me and I'm not leaning. It still is the camera that's not focusing properly. It just doesn't want to. But anyway, you can see that it's got a history of the divination and the seer's apprentice, nature amulet. Now, what I've discovered with this is there's sealed parts in this book. And luckily, there was one copy that I've got that and that is this one. This copy is the one that I've actually opened up those sealed sections. So what we've got here, and I'll have a looky cookie. Here it is. This was where it was sealed. You can see the little serrated edges. Can you see the serrated edges? Well, in the other book that I've got, that's still intact. So that it's, if you wanted to purchase it, because I'm going to be listing them as in my shop section of the website, I'll list it there. The original recommended retail price was $12.95. Well, I'm going to do any of those books from that era at half price, and you just pay the postage. So that's what this book is about, the various different levels of the divination. I thought, well, I'll just read out what is the introduction of this one, and then I'll do little series of each section. I'll do a bit of a research on some of the sections so that at least then there's a bit more explanation of some of the different tools that are used for divination, because I have been exploring some of them over the years, probably not going into depth with all of them, because not all of them I'm attracted to. Some of the bits and pieces that are in the toolbox for diviners or fortune tellers or psychic mediums or whatever, we don't use all of them. It's nice to know a little bit about most of them, but we don't have to use all of them. It's what we're guided to, isn't it, as to what we would like to go into in more depth. That's why I really was attracted to the Lenormand deck of cards, which is this set. I mean, that's the set of cards I really like. But the Lenormand card system reading is what I just really enjoy, because it is so easy, and it really does bring up for me some of those interpretations that have more storytelling ability, I suppose, but it brings up that connection with spirit that's a little more direct for me. So that's what I like about it. But you never know when you start to explore something in its summary, in a short form, in something that introduces you to it, you might feel that, oh, I'll look into that a bit more and a bit more and a bit more and actually get fully involved. So I thought, you never know. You never know what it might lead to. So that's what I'm looking at there. I'm just going to check whether I've got any comments here, because I don't want to miss out if there's anyone watching. I've got 3 there. So nice to see you. Thank you for popping in and watching. So really, it's a book of it. This book here that we've got in hand, the Book of Fortunes. And in this introduction, it's the Book of Fortunes explains the rich heritage associated with the practical art of divination and gives a step-by-step guide to the basic techniques and principles of the wide variety of prediction methods used today. And that's from yesterday even into the future, because they haven't changed much. So this wealth of information can easily be assimilated and put into practice on a number of levels. So it doesn't matter whether you're a beginner or in through to the fully experienced, you're still going to be able to get something out of this book, I presume, is what the intention is. So I'm looking forward to going through it. So it's from entertainment and party fortune telling to the serious study of the major disciplines So I think it really does probably just touch on what is beginner level and then helps to move you through to the more expert if you want to dive further into it. I'm hopeful that this actually gives a few ideas and links to further learning if you're wanting to and interested in it. So the goal of this book's to enable you to interpret your own and your friend's fortune or future and to answer those questions and provide positive and fruitful planning to make the best of the years ahead. For me, I'm not 100% sure that I want to actually be planning fully into the future because of divination, but it is really interesting more as that getting to know yourself. So that's why I use them, not so much as a fortune telling tool, but it can be a fun thing to do just to have that. Oh, so that's what the card said. Or, oh, that's what the pendulum said. That gave an indication of and stuff like that. It can help to at least get you to trust in self, I suppose, when you get those gut feelings, when you have those little notifications later or affirmations that, oh, yeah, I probably am on the right track. I'm following what my instincts telling me or my intuition or, psychic senses turning them on. So anything that you care to use can foretell, whether it's the cards, pebbles, animals, twigs, dice, or a host of other things. You can use anything to do readings. So the patterns and shapes of nature and even the objects themselves give the diviner hints as truth when the intuition is really operating. So did I miss some of that? I probably did. In divination, anything you care to use can foretell, whether it be cards, pebbles, animals, dice, twigs, or a host of other things. Yeah, I missed a bit of the sentence. That's why I thought I'd read it out, because this is the white on brown. It's not that easy to read, actually. So every object and tool speaks in its own special language. And it really is. There's a lingo with each different type of what you're using or delving into, between tarot and the oracle cards and the Lenormand. There's a slightly different language with each of them and a way of doing it. Palmistry, numerology, all of them, they have their own lingo. Like that, it really is like a bit of a language around it. Oh, there's something there. No, it's not. So you're encouraged to try working with as many prediction methods as possible to find the ones which you most resonate with. And it really is being guided to what you feel instinctively as an interest. Oh, that's it. I think really it comes down to, that's pretty interesting. I might just delve into that a bit more. That for me would tell Matt, that's what I would go with for myself. And it's what I do if I find something interesting. It's probably why I get a bit distracted on the internet too. So it does enable you to tap into all the majestic power of the universe. So there is increasing recognition that psychic ability is a widespread human potential, and it's placing it in the same mental arena as intuition. I actually treat them as the same. It's just that we give a bit more power to the words of what psychic means compared to intuition. I feel it comes from the same space and place, so just trust in it and build on it. So it does suggest that everyone has it to some extent, which is definitely the case. Even if it's lying latent and undiscovered, this talent can be activated and it can be improved. So the Seer's Apprentice section in this book that's on pages 10 to 13 provides a process for developing clairvoyant skills on an individual basis. So we've got a little bit of intuition in this too. So intuition is a form of knowledge that hides the means by which it's accomplished. Let me think on that one. What's that definition? Intuition is a form of knowledge that hides the means by which it is accomplished. Okay. We'll find that out later. This book fills in the missing pieces of the jigsaw to reveal the secret knowledge underlying the principles of fortune telling. So it's going to delve into a few of the little tidbits around what fortune telling is and how you can do certain ones using different tools. So the book is divided into 5 chapters. There is instructions given for the use and interpretation of various methods of divination using the techniques and objects listed in each chapter. So I think really this the author of this book is suggesting many different ways, as we saw from what was that contents list, that it's going to actually draw on quite a few little different methods. And I'd like to just go through and, see what some of these are like, what they, whether there's things that I know that I can share in a bit more detail with you, whether there's things here that can, I didn't even know what the heck that is. There you go. There's one that's even coming out there. What's that? Tephromancy. That's if that's how it's pronounced. I don't know. Looks like that ashes for divination. Oh, that'll be interesting. So you can tell your fortune from nature and all sorts of things. So I'm actually looking forward to reading through these sections piece by piece and actually, having a bit of practice and looking at it for myself as well. And I suppose because even, was it last weekend? It was, I think, that I went to a tea leaf reading workshop, and I've just found where that is, Tasiography, the divination from the tea leaves. So I'm probably going to go off and read this one in a bit more detail, add it to the notes that I've got from the book that was purchased at that workshop, and see what else I can actually learn from it. So it is fun. I like doing the tea. Well, I like doing all of them. So I'm actually looking forward to doing something a bit different. And I've also been able to add in my iPad as well to this in just that part of that process that's the pressing the buttons that I like doing. Oh, and that's not sitting well. Oh, bugger. I wonder if the book actually shows up. Does that focus better in that camera? Let's just do that. I want to just hold a page up. And is that focusing better, easier? Let me see. Let's go like that. There's an omen interpreter, augury. I don't know. I've got to work out a way that actually is able to focus in on the cards a little bit, with a bit more clarity and definition around the cards as well too. So that's where I'm up to with that, and what I'm actually wanting to put forward shortly around that style of doing a bit of a show that paces through these. I'll learn how to do the scheduling, figure out how to do that so that you've got a bit of warning. And if you want to join in, then you're not missing out on anything. Well, you don't really anyway, because you're actually watching a replay as well. All of this stuff comes out as replays, doesn't it? So I'll leave that there for now. I'm going to go and grab myself a cup of tea, and I'm going to look into the tea leaf reading in a bit more detail now, and this book. So thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.